I'm Jim Check. You're watching Now Media. With me, Alex Deslauriers. I think I said that wrong now. Deslauriers.
Very good.
CEO of Fireswarm. Big news yesterday. Transport Canada authorizes the use of the ACC Innovation Thunder Wasp drone in wildfires. That could be huge going forward for wildfire fighting in Canada.
Absolute game changer. We believe it is one of those cases in society where it is an advantage to be a Canadian and to be working with Transport Canada, who is so incredibly forward-looking in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, that could be like the moment, kind of like a huge moment, because, right now, I've done lots of stories on. I interviewed the CEO of Coulson Aviation, one of the largest, like big super tanker wildfire fighters in the world. But, they can only fight in the daytime in good conditions and that kind of stuff. With drones, they could actually fight fire like 24/7.
That is exactly the gap in wildfire that Fireswarm intends to meet. We are able to bring these machines to within 5 nautical miles of a wildfire, deployed from the back of a Ford F-450, flown semi-autonomously, automatically picking up water from lakes or pumpkin tanks and deploying that water all night long while the fire is usually at rest. So that is literally the best time to attack fires.
Because it's quieter, it's cooler, and also, right now the current situation is, they work really hard during the day when it's super hot and they're fighting the wildfire, and then they have to kind of leave it on its own, and then hopefully, it hasn't spread too far overnight. And then the other part of your title of your company, they're swarm, so that means as not just one, tanker, 3-4 tankers, that you could actually swarm a fire.
These quadcopters are turbine engine driven, and they are able to lift 400 kilograms. We believe one machine can do damage to a fire, but imagine a swarm of 3 or perhaps even dozens attacking wildfires at night in continuous suppression. And currently, Transport Canada allows one pilot to oversee an operation of up to 5 machines.
Yeah.
So you can see the scale in which this will be deployable.
Can you just play that video, and then we'll just talk over it as the YouTube video that are on the website there. And you can kind of, I think we had it and then we lost it. There we go. So there you go. Maybe if you can describe what's happening here.
The concept of operation is to allow multiple of these heavy lift drones, each able to carry 400 kilograms. As you can see here, these machines are modular. They can be fitted into 3 pieces on the back of a Ford F-450, transported to the edge of the fire and deployed. So here you can see the heavy lift drones picking up water autonomously and dropping off this water on fingers of the fire that require attention.
So this is similar to like a helicopter, right? Like that's dropping like a payload of water in certain areas, and then I guess really good for initial attack kind of things.
Definitely good for initial attack. We believe that our concept of operation, since it has to be brought to the fire on the back of trucks, we will still integrate with current aerial air assets, where helicopters will be dropping water on fires during the day. And as soon as the weather conditions permit, our swarm of drones will be able to then attack the fire at night using the same technology, the Bambi bucket, as a current heavy lift helicopter.
So what's the runtime on these Thunder Wasps right now?
The machine, as we said, is powered by a jet engine, and it requires jet fuel for obvious reasons that from an energy density point of view, jet fuel is required to give us a 2-hour endurance with about 350 kilograms of water brought to a fire.
So that's different because, I would have thought right at first that these were electric, like most drones are, but this is actually running off of jet fuel. So it's kind of marrying like older technology with the new technology.
And we have looked far and wide into battery technology. The current state of batteries is simply not feasible for this payload and endurance to fit together. If you look at the energy density of a battery, you're looking at 50 to 150 to one between jet fuel and battery powered. There's simply not enough energy available in batteries today.
Right, and especially when you're lifting heavy like that too, right? And then I imagine the heat in itself may cause some, like problems with the batteries as well.
100% electric powered drones are of very small size right now for obvious reasons. And then as they fly over fires, you can start imagining the Tesla shutting down on the side of the road because it's too hot. Well, that's just not an option for wildfire drones.
Yeah, and then I mentioned you, Peter Diamandis, and I understand that you are in the X Prize competition as well.
We are very proud to have been selected as one of 30 companies to be part of the X Prize. There were about 300 companies that applied, and we are the only Canadian contender.
Well, that's awesome, because we had Peter Diamandis here in Kelowna speaking at our AI Level Up Summit, and he's involved in so many things. And the X Prize started, I don't remember how many years ago, but it started with the space race, right? That basically born like the Galactica, and then Bezos is now Origin, and Tesla's, or not Tesla's, Elon Musk's SpaceX and that, right?
We're extremely proud to be part of this massive organization of the X Prize, and the X Prize Wildfire came at a perfect time for our innovation. We saw that, as you may know, the X Prize, it is one challenge, one purpose: detect a fire and extinguish it within 10 minutes in a 1,000 square kilometer area, meaning a swarm of heavy lift drones pre-positioned is perfect for winning that competition.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about the X Prize too, and it's great that you're one of the Canadian companies that are actually in there fighting for it, is that this one I think is a $10 million prize. Am I correct? I think it's 10 million for this prize.
The 10 million split between the early detection, which is satellite-based detection, and this track B, which is called the early suppression. So it's a combined prize. Yep.
But anyway, so the prize is say it's $10 million or $5 million each, but the amount of innovation that it generates, like when they did the space prize, it generates sometimes 100 times that in just all these companies vying for the prize, because it's not just the prize that you're vying for the technology and being a leader, kind of basically being designated as one of the leaders in that industry.
100%. That's really, really what we're excited about. And to add to that, we had the summit for the X Prize in Salt Lake City in September, where all the teams came together, and the level of cooperation that you could see there. Multiple teams ended up literally coming together, which is what we did. We brought in satellite detection, high altitude detection, and a pod that's installed on our drone. So all of this technology came together under our umbrella, if you will, of Fireswarm to win this prize.
This could be a game changer for wildfire fighting here, especially in interface fires. It's absolutely incredible. What is the future like for you? What does 2 years look like for Fireswarm? 5 years, 10 years? What does that look like? And how does that change the landscape of wildfires here in Canada?
As they call it, the big, hairy, audacious goal.
Yeah, let's do one of those.
Is to have one machine in every fire department in Canada, and one machine in every First Nation in Canada, so that these fires can be detected and suppressed early. And as the incident grows in size, multiple machines can be driven to the site, and our swarm algorithm will enable multiple machines to be plugged into the swarm algorithm, if you will. And in time, we will be the market leader in swarm algorithms for wildfire suppression, based on the fact that we are the first to market to collect data and have our machine learning algorithm build out this data set.
So right now, these are remote controlled drones. And then I imagine the goal is for them to make them autonomous?
That is the crawl, walk, run, fly that we are working with Transport Canada. Again, I can't say enough good words about Transport Canada. accepting this machine to be flown in Canada will change the game for us. Now we can start integrating advanced sensors, bring in our swarm algorithm that's AI based, and you can see that over the years, with the amount of data we'll be collecting, the autonomy of these machines could see in time being completely remote from downtown Calgary or downtown Kelowna.
Right. And then I imagine there'll be a lot of sensors built into there. And I know that like we did the AI summit, we had a mushroom picking device that was all vision based, and Teslas are vision based. Optimus is vision based. Is this the technology you're looking for? Is a vision based kind of like AI technology?
The AI layer that we're building allows us to recognize water drops, that efficacy essentially as the machine approaches a head of the fire, where the water is being dropped, at what altitude, what speed, and whatnot. That is the true AI machine learning piece that we're bringing to the market, so that as we collect more data, these drops become more and more effective.
How do people find out more about Fireswarm? Are you guys public yet, or what's the? How do people kind of connect with Fireswarm?
We're a mighty little startup based here in Squamish. Please connect with us on LinkedIn, and we have a place in our site where you can connect with us. We are obviously looking for customers that want to purchase these machines and get into contract to start fighting wildfires in Canada. And we are obviously taking orders for the rollout of these machines. The first one is arriving in Canada in September.
Oh, wow. And what is just maybe roughly what are people looking at for a cost of deploying one of these machines into wildfires?
It's the cost of a small size helicopter. You can understand these jet engines are fairly costly. I don't have an actual price because it really depends on the number of units being purchased by the customers. And but it is so high level. Think of 3 machines with all of the supporting equipment is equivalent to a small size helicopter. But obviously, you can fly at night. You need pilots that fly UAVs, not thousands of hours of pilot experience on top of wildfire. So we really believe this will be a game changer.
And imagine the safety too, that you don't have the worry about the pilot crashing into a mountainside or stuff like that. And so there's a lot more safety for the UAV operator at this point.
Every year we hear of pilots dying over wildfires. And this is one of the major key points here, is that the technology is ready, and let's solve a problem that actually matters to society.
Well, look at that, the BC coastline birthing some of the greatest companies as far as wildfires go. Coulson Aviation, the largest tanker company in the world, and then now Fireswarm out there in Squamish. What's going on out there?
There's obviously a bed of activity here when it comes to innovation. There's even, also Conair in Abbotsford.
Yeah.
All of us know how massive the problem is, and it's a massive issue. I mean, today, 5 kilometers away from where I'm sitting right now, we have an out of control wildfire. Our truck is packed with all our belongings, waiting for the order to evacuate. We're living in a time where this is our war, and unfortunately, more needs to be done.
Yeah, and we did the story this morning. This could be the second worst wildfire season. That's what they're looking at right now in Canadian history and recorded history, anyway. And it's a problem, especially us in the Okanagan here. We face all the time, right? Interface fires are obviously a threat to homes, and we've lost many homes here in the Okanagan Valley. As a people, Jasper, we can name these disasters over and over again. And I worked for AFS when I was a youngster, and I know that putting them out early is the key, right? Putting them out early, deploying fast, and attacking the fire is early on is the key to winning the battle.
In Kelowna 2 weeks ago, we were on top of Knox Mountain with the Kelowna Fire Department. So imagine 30 firefighters. Transport Canada was there, city officials, and we had our 3 small drones showing the concept of operation. from picking up water to putting water on flames. And there's a social media post coming out in a few days where the chief of fire and ourselves will be putting out a media post to talk about what kind of a success we had on Knox Mountain, and how the recognition, that early detection and early suppression with these machines will change the way
that's key, right? I mean, early attack, that's why they call it initial attack. I think they call it something different. When I worked there, AFS, it was initial attack. I think they call it something different today, but it is obviously getting at the fire. Other than that, you're building breaks, right? So that's awesome. And then again, this is important. This is important for the viewers to understand. Transport Canada authorizes the ACC Innovation Thunder Wasp drone and wildfires. That doesn't mean this is a few years out. It's authorized to start fighting wildfires.
It is authorized, correct. So the one caveat there is Transport Canada is one layer of authorization. We obviously need another layer of authorization through BC Wildfire Service and then Alberta Wildfire Service. So we are working in lockstep with Transport Canada, with the wildfire service industry, to ensure that these machines can be deployed safely in emergency conditions.
I imagine if you're talking about doors you had open and unlocked, Transport Canada would be one big door though, right? Like if you're thinking about a key that needs to be turned, that is one of those big doors to be opened.
From an innovation point of view, we call them inflection points. This has been an inflection point that we have been looking for years.
Yeah, lots of people scared of AI, but here's one way that AI can actually help make our communities safer. And
you're correct. Everybody is afraid of AI, but this is a way that AI can be brought to for good and for public safety. And that's why Transport Canada is so keen on getting this technology deployed to the front lines.
Well, Alex, I do thank you for your time. Is there anything that you want to share with viewers before you get back and get ready?
One question I keep getting is, Alex, are you concerned about all of the helicopter companies that you're going to put out of business? And I want to make it very clear that with the wildfire situation we will be facing in the next 10 to 20 years, no helicopter company is going to go out of business. There will not be enough helicopters to solve the problem.
Yeah.
What we are bringing is an adjunct. We will be working with helicopter companies, with BC Wildfire, Alberta Wildfire, to make sure that this technology is rolled out safely.
And I would say to that, I would add to that, and then adding more good tools to fight wildfires will save homes, save lives, and save the wildlife as well, and actually make it, like the cleaner air, all kinds of things. Again, you can probably talk to anybody that's worked for a forestry service for wildfire fighting, and knowing that the initial response is all that important, and helicopters play a huge role in that as well.
Absolutely. And also the empowerment of First Nation communities. These machines that can be flown autonomously, you can see First Nations owning these machines and building local capacity to actually be able to put out fires on their land. All the First Nations we're speaking to are very forward thinking on this.
So I imagine it can also carry retardant as well as water. Is that
initially we're thinking about water only, but in time, when you have a forward deployed pumpkin tank, there can be surfactant added to the water that is then allows the water to literally stick to the forest a little longer. Yeah,
it's a pretty gooey thing for sure. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I do thank you, Alex, and thank you for sharing that information. And I'm sure that's great news for many people here in the Okanagan and throughout BC and Canada, for that matter, because there's many fires burning right now. Like you say, you got one right on your doorstep right now. So,
correct. Thank you so much for your time, and go Oilers.
Go Oilers! Yeah, all the way. We're going to do it this year, right?
Absolutely, it has to happen.
It has to happen, and bring it back to Canada. What has it been? I think 1993 or something like that. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
While you're doing it for us, you're in the X Prize there. That's great. That's great to have a Canadian company representing there. So representing Canada in the X Prize.
Thank you. We're over the moon about the amount of attention we're getting right now, and we're just solving one of the biggest problems that humanity is facing right now, definitely in North America.
There you go. All right. Thank you for that, and we do thank you for watching Now Media.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent.